All right, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome in. I am Chief Meteorologist Josh Johnson. We are doing a live stream that is on the WSFA First Alert weather app, WSFA.com, and on the Josh Johnson WSFA Facebook page and the Josh Johnson YouTube channel. So wherever you're watching us, welcome. We are thrilled to have you this evening, this stormy, bumpy evening here in Alabama. So watch with me here. We've got some pretty active thunderstorms ongoing now. The worst of this, the southern part of this has become more intense. The northern side of this temporarily, I think, lulling down a little bit. Now we've got a set of circumstances here. Elmore, Tallapoosa, Macon, Lee, you'll need to watch. I will explain that in a moment. But I want to begin with the worst of it. It's right here. This is right now coming into Prattville. Massive amounts of thunder and lightning and damaging wind within this. Expect power outages. With that much lightning, expect some lightning damage, right? Trees could be damaged. We've had a rash of house fires recently caused by lightning. That may very well happen again in this setup. And the rain is going to be torrential up here. Notice there's a severe thunderstorm warning for that cluster of storms. In case you're wondering, this is moving east-southeast. So on its current trajectory here, this will go on across northern Montgomery County, much of Lowndes, and then eventually get over into parts of Macon and Bullock and southern Elmore County too. So that's the kind of the storm track on this. This is going to move almost due east, maybe a little south of due east. Damaging wind and lightning are the main concerns. So if you have kids that are swimming in swimming pools, I know, right? It's summertime in Alabama. No one's in school. Get them out of the pool. If they live in Montgomery, if they're in Prattville, they should already have been out. Wetumpka, you need to be probably out of the pool there too. But definitely Montgomery, Hope Hull, Penlala. That's a tough-looking set of circumstances there with just hundreds of lightning strikes. This is just a barrage of lightning strikes. I can actually show it to you now. This is our RSA camera. This is actually looking back towards Prattville into that intense cluster of thunderstorms here, and you will see occasionally some cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Now, they're not as easy to see in the daytime, right? At night, it flashes across the entire sky. In the daytime, a little more difficult to see, but they're there, I promise. I've seen a few of them here myself on this camera within the last 10 to 15 minutes. So that's the view from downtown Montgomery looking back into this. Notice it's not raining yet in Montgomery. The rain has made it into Prattville, though, for sure. It is pouring rain now, particularly out on the city's west side. Now, the thing I'm watching up here into parts of Elmore and Tallapoosa, there has been at least a temporary weakening trend here, but I would caution you, there's a little outflow boundary running right here, and it is going to eventually collide with this existing cluster of thunderstorms, and that will create surface convergence. When the air blows together near the ground, there's nowhere for it to go. It can't go down, the ground blocks it, so it goes up. So when you get air blowing together near the ground, it eventually goes up. Think about like a mushroom cloud, but in this case, it's a thunderstorm, right? And so I would anticipate a strengthening, a re-intensification of these storms here in eastern Elmore County, central and southern Tallapoosa County, within the next 30 to 45 minutes as they come east. So these storms are not as intense as their neighbors down here yet, but let me just word of caution here. The pattern does favor some storm intensification here in the general corridor from Wetumpka to Tallahassee to Dadeville and Jackson's Gap. So I'm watching that. Now, this is not a tornado setup really for anyone. This is a damaging wind and lightning problem. I'll point out, too, there's no formal severe thunderstorm warning, but we have a few additional intense thunderstorms now affecting eastern Wilcox, central and northern Monroe, central Butler County, including now coming into the town of Greenville, or the city of Greenville, most of it a little west of there, but it's close enough. And this back here will come on through Greenville. So if you live in Greenville, some close by now, maybe over you, depending on where you live, and then more is coming later, right? Monroeville, same thing. Evergreen, same thing. Castleberry, same thing. Rain and storms are on the way for you. But the most intense core of it is up here right now in southern Autauga County, including right over Prattville. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And that is an incredible amount of lightning there. This would be, the core of it would be out near Autauga County Road 29, State Route 14, Swift Creek Park, back towards Autaugaville, Old Milton, and Fig Tree community. Just dozens and dozens and dozens of lightning strikes almost continuous. I'm going to turn them off so we can see the storm structure itself. This is your classic summertime multicellular storm, right? This isn't one cell, it's a glob of cells. It's a bunch of them, so we call it a multicellular storm. And that's what we deal with a lot this time of year. We'll watch for these little small cores that form. See that one right there? When you see that little purple core, A, that can produce hail in that moment, and B, when that core collapses, that can be a place where you have an increased risk of a microburst. So we'll switch over to the velocity product. We show you this a lot on tornado days. We're not looking for rotation here. We are looking for areas of bright green or areas of bright red that would indicate some strong winds. Now remember, this is off Maxwell radar, so by the time the beam gets over to Prattville in northern Lowndes County, southern Autauga, it's a few thousand feet above the ground, but we're sampling some pretty decent 30, 40 type mile per hour winds within these storms. What we don't see right now, thankfully, is any sort of 60, 70, 80. Let me caution you, though, in a microburst scenario, by the time the radar is sampling that wind speed, you're already having damage. So from a diagnostic perspective, as a meteorologist, what we really kind of concentrate on are these storm cores. For instance, that little purple blob right there, if the next scan comes in, then that thing just disappears. Then there's a very real chance that what happened is that core collapsed. And think about if you were to take like a 5-gallon bucket full of water and dump it out onto a concrete floor, that water would fall, but as soon as it hit the ground, it would whoosh, spread out. We call that a microburst, except it's not a 5-gallon bucket. It's a thunderstorm, 20 square miles, 10 square miles, 5 square miles. It's a large thing, right? So it can create quite a bit of wind and in some cases some wind damage. So that's where we are as of this exact moment. This is 5:43. You're watching a continuous weather live stream. No telling where you're watching it. Some of you watching on Facebook, some of you watching on YouTube, some of you watching on the WSFA First Alert Weather app. We welcome all of you in for this storm party. We should start doing that. We should make this more fun, shouldn't we? We should make this a storm party. I don't know what we would do. There's some details there that would need to be filled in the blanks for sure. So wider perspective, you've got this kind of broken line of storms that essentially runs from Horseshoe Bend to Alex City to Wetumpka to Prattville to Lounsboro to Pineapple down near to Monroeville and all the way to Atmore. It is moving east-southeast. I'll put the animation on here and you can sort of see the trajectory on all of this. The individual storms are trying to move a little more east, but the line itself it's really moving more like this. So the bottom line, if you live out here, Greenville, Troy, Union Springs, Tuskegee, Auburn, Opelika, you haven't had storms yet, but your time will probably come. It's probably just a matter of when, not if. As far as timing this out, getting some questions about that from the Wind Lakes area. And for the city of Montgomery, the worst of it is arriving in West Montgomery now, between now and 6 o'clock. For kind of Midtown, Alabama State University, Montgomery Zoo area, I would put this between 6 and 6:15. And then I would say 6:15 to 6:45 on out into East Montgomery, Wind Lake, south towards Pike Road, and then South Montgomery as well. So that's kind of a just rough estimate timeline on this. Now understand, in East Montgomery, you also have this storm out ahead of all of this that has formed. So some of you in East Montgomery and Southern Elmore, you're already having intense storm problems here with that. So what I'm timing is this main line back off to the northwest. If you're sick and tired of all of this, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? If you're sick and tired about all the storms, I've got a good deal for you. We have drier air on the way. It arrives Wednesday. The Wednesday storm chance gets pushed mainly down south of Montgomery. And even there, it's a lot spottier than today. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday all look either dry or very, very close to it. What do I mean by that? 1 or 2 renegade pop-ups could form, but nothing like this, nothing long-lived, nothing widespread. Most of you would have a dry day on each and all of those days. So for the holiday, it's a really nice timing on that whole thing. So party game idea for the storm party. Pin the wig on Josh's forehead. Oh, Connor. You are such a hilarious cat. If you guys would pay attention to the weather, if that's what it takes, we can do it. I really don't think I got to have a wig though. I mean, I've earned these gray hairs. I've earned this bald spot. I've earned it, right? That's a badge of pride. I have to deal with all sorts of people and things and all that jazz. So I wear it with pride. You will never see me wear a wig or hair implants or dye my hair. I'm a whatever happens, happens kind of guy on that front. So there's a lot more salt than pepper these days. Hey, that's part of it. I think I've earned all of that. So enough about that. Notice what happened out here in Lowndes County. We talked about the purple blob and how they kind of disappear. That one did it, right? So in the last few frames of this radar scan, if you look here just south of Highway 80, right there, we probably had a quick, very small microburst southwest of Lounsboro. It probably didn't damage anything. If it did, it would be kind of tree limbs, things like that. Wouldn't be anything widespread. It's not like a tornado where it's on the ground for 30 miles, 20 miles, 50 miles. These microbursts are pretty confined to one spot. And from a survey perspective, if you have one, by the way you can tell the difference. Tornado damage, the trees tend to fall towards a center line, right? Wherever the tornado tracked, the trees fall towards that line. In a downburst or microburst scenario, the trees tend to fall out away from each other, right? It's called a divergent damage pattern. It's where the trees are falling kind of away from each other. I'm not talking about a single tree, right? We can have straight line wind where it hits the tree at a funny angle and it can twist the tree. A lot of people see a twisted tree and think it had to be a tornado. That's not the case. Sometimes tree canopies on trees are uneven. One side of the tree has a lot more leaves than the other. The wind hits it. All those leaves bear all the force and the tree gets twisted around. What we look at it's not one tree. It's how all of the trees fell in that area. Did they fall towards the center line? Did they fall out away a little bit? So just some food for thought. That's how that goes. So really coming down in Prattville, the lightning is ferocious. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I turned it off so we could see a little better, but let me turn it back on. I mean, that is just an aerial bombardment right now in the Prattville area. Just tons and tons and tons of lightning. I mean, just going crazy. So that is wild and woolly there. Now that thing is, that storm, by the way, that's hitting Prattville, that's going to slide right on down into Montgomery. In fact, that's already happening. You can sort of see in the last few frames here, it's already arriving out towards Maxwell Air Force Base, US 31, back up to the river bridge there, pouring rain. The core of that is still back in Autauga and northern Lowndes, but it is sliding right down into the city of Montgomery. So again, now through about 6 o'clock in the western parts of Montgomery, call it 6 to 6:15 for the central parts of Montgomery, 6:15 to 6:45 out east would be the general timeline all the way out to Pike Road. So torrential rain, thunder, lightning, gusty wind, no tornado threat, but there could be some isolated power outages. In fact, let's flip over there. Here in the Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone, we have the Barron data package that actually allows us to kind of check in on that. So far, we're not getting a ton of reports of outages in Autauga, but remember, this is happening right now. So there's not a tremendous lag, but there is at least some lag. 500 now in Butler, 1,000 in Dallas, 700 in Perry, 1,000 in Bibb, and then additional outages up here into Pickens, Tuscaloosa, and Shelby counties up in the Birmingham area. So expect additional power outages as this thing comes east. A lot of the power outage situation will depend on exactly what gets hit, but I mean, with that much lightning over a densely populated area like Prattville, I would anticipate an increase in power outages very quickly in Autauga County. So a lot of you may be without it already. If you're not, you probably will be pretty soon. So we'll go back to the traditional radar screen here. There you have it. That's cluster of storms. Now, one thing that's interesting, we still haven't seen that re-intensification here in Elmore and Tallapoosa. Colliding outflow boundaries there into these storms. There you see, actually, if you look carefully, you can see the first few frames of it. That's what I was telling you was going to happen. Right there, south of Eclectic, that's where you're seeing that new wave of storms form because of that boundary, right? That's a little east of Wetumpka. That would be out along Claude Flea Hop Road area, Highway 14. I expect you'll start to see an expansion of new storms in this general corridor as that outflow boundary collides with these existing storms. That's probably just the beginning of it, and that would create probably another situation where damaging wind and lightning would be possible, if not likely, there. So here's what it looks like. We'll go back to the RSA camera, and we'll essentially watch this roll in together. You can see we're really shaking pretty hard there, the camera, as this comes into Montgomery. Mainly a damaging wind concern. Lightning is also an issue. So bottoms falling out in Lowndes County. For you, Lowndes County, timeline is essentially now by 7 o'clock. This is probably all out of your hair. Leftover rain, but nothing damaging, nothing dangerous or anything. So yeah, that's what we've got going right now. It's a busy afternoon with a lot going on, a lot of active thunderstorms. This is the view there. We'll kind of pop you around a little bit here. We'll go out to Montgomery Regional Airport. Whew, man, look at that. Goodness gracious. That is a heck of a storm moving in. That camera is really rocking back and forth, and you can see the base of that approaching thunderstorm there back past the tower. So this thing is getting wound up pretty quick there as it comes in towards Montgomery Regional Airport. This may affect air travel. We'll keep an eye on the whole situation out here, but I mean, this is a pretty intense thunderstorm cluster that's going to come right over the airport, and it'll depend on the flight schedules, but there could be some disruption to air travel depending, again, on what plane is trying to land or take off and when. That could be problematic. So we'll keep an eye on that. You don't see that camera move that much. That one's pretty well secured up there on top of the terminal, but it is really rocking and rolling. And if you look carefully along the leading edge of that, you can actually see that air just rushing out from that storm complex as it comes on in. So again, this is the ASE Credit Union camera network. The shot here is out over Montgomery Regional Airport. So nasty stuff here. Torrential rain is on the way here momentarily. The bottom's going to fall out, wind is going to kick up, and then there's going to be a ton of lightning strikes. That's the real concern here, is lightning. So we'll keep an eye on that, but you see it now coming down. That's what we were just looking at right there. We were looking from Montgomery Regional Airport, which sits right there, back at that approaching cluster of storms coming out of Lowndes and Autauga counties. So yeah, this is the real deal with all that lightning and some of those pockets of damaging wind gusts. If you live in Blue Ridge, southern Elmore County, Montgomery, Snowden, Hope Hull, Pentlala, Katoma, this thing will be here within the next 20 to 30 minutes at most. For a lot of you, I mean, Katoma, West Montgomery, it's happening a lot faster than that. It's really essentially happening right now. And then we have an additional cluster of strong thunderstorms out here in northeast Montgomery. This would be very near Arrowhead Country Club along Wares Ferry Road, Dozier Road, back up towards the Toll Bridge, Rifle Range Road, that general piece of real estate. So torrential rain happening there, some lightning strikes in that as well. The core of it, though, the worst of it, is a little west of there, though, back over the Prattville area, curving back down into Hayneville, Lounsboro, and Braggs in Lowndes County, Autauga County, and Elmore County. So if you live in the city of Montgomery, understand the weather is about to get really tough, right? Torrential rain, some thunder, some lightning. Again, if you have kids who are outside playing, swimming, whatever, get them indoors. These storms are prolific lightning producers, and there you see it right there. This is now, this camera 5 minutes ago didn't have any raindrops. Now it is the beginning. This is the leading kind of onslaught there of that cluster of intense thunderstorms. You see the sky flashing consistently with lightning. That's only going to increase over the course of the next 25 to 30 minutes if you live in downtown Montgomery, and then after that out east. So this is going to be just no way to sugarcoat it, just a bumpy ride. If you're heading home from work, you're going to deal with this. Couple of questions, comments, lots of lightning, some power outages in Prattville, storms in Weoka. Please cross-post on YouTube. I already do. Just search Josh Johnson on YouTube. This that you're watching right now is on YouTube as we speak. So you can also watch this on the WSFA First Alert Weather app as well. So there you see the wind really beginning to rock that camera. Let's go back out to the airport here. And we're going to wind this down momentarily because we're switching over into news mode. We'll be over on WSFA 12 News on the big TV channel. You can also stream that on the weather app and the news app. But we'll be doing a kind of a combination of weather and news, obviously, some sports in the mix as well. Is there any more coming behind this, Blakely? No, there's not. Jeff Brown says Stormageddon. No, not really. Just, pretty intense summertime storms. Tons of lightning, tons of gusty wind. Look at that airport camera. Wow. I don't recall seeing that one move quite like that in some time. So damaging wind, scattered power outages, and a ton of lightning on the way for a huge part of our area. Before I send you back, we'll see if we have, so far, the power outages are not filling in Autauga and Lowndes, but I can guarantee you there are ongoing power interruptions happening now in Autauga and Lowndes, and probably now getting into Montgomery and Elmore as well. So the map, there's a lag there, right? Those numbers are not instantaneous, so we'll see that play catch up, unfortunately, over the course of the next 30 minutes or so. All right, I'm going to wind the live streams down here because it's now 3 minutes until WSFA 12 News at 6. I would encourage you to watch that. So on Facebook and YouTube, this live stream will end. But you can stream all of our newscasts anytime using the First Alert Weather app. Just go to the bottom of the screen there on the homepage. There will be a big button that says Watch Live. Tap that button. It'll take you to our video player, and you can watch the newscast live. And, of course, today we're not only going to cover weather topics, we're also going to get into the news and sports and everything that's happening in the world. So thank you, as always. I appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay indoors.